Have you ever had someone look you in the eyes and tell you that they have no hope? I mean, really look you in the eyes and mean it. I hadn't. That is, until I met Hashim. We sat in a small space, smaller than this room. Hashim and a few men and women from the community of refugees living in hiding. We sat cross-legged on the floor. There weren't any chairs. We are people without hope, he told me, a foreigner like him. But unlike him, I arrived in Malaysia with a passport, a credit card, and every other convenience at my disposal. He arrived years earlier, under the cover of night, in a rickety boat, stripped of his identity, stripped of his nationhood, separated from his family, separated still. Hopeless was a word that fit into a vocabulary I was entirely unfamiliar with, that of summary executions, torture, and systematic rape. You see, Hashim is a Rohingya refugee who fled a campaign of concentrated violence that saw an estimated 250,000 of his people flee Burma in 1991 and 1992 alone. Then there was Noor. Noor fled as well. The tears on his face said it all. They appeared suddenly, streamed clear lines on his dark skin. The first and the only tears I saw during my time meeting with refugees in Malaysia, listening to their stories of survival, of exile, of suffering and displacement. Tears that were precious to me. Quietly, in a near whisper, Noor recounted the story of his imprisonment. 7 years in a Bangladeshi jail. His crime? Going to the authorities to ask them to bring justice to the worthless men who raped and killed an 11-year-old girl in his community. The community Noor was a part of had been ambushed and mistreated by locals many times, and this was all too much. When Noor had spoken his mind and left, after vocalizing his anger, after speaking up for his community, he was accosted by junior officers, severely beaten, and thrown into jail. There was no trial. There was no accusation, only a clear message from the powers that be that it was better for him and the community to keep the collective mouth shut. Having only a little familiarity with the history of their people, having no experience myself as someone forced to flee from their homeland, those 6 words sent chills down my spine. We are a people without hope. They haunt me still, because what I've come to realize is that they're words spoken by people every day around the world. Unfortunately, the danger didn't stop when they arrived in Malaysia. Because the government grants no legal status to them, even though they're legitimate refugees according to the United Nations, Noor and Hashim and their people are very vulnerable. At any moment, the authorities can raid and arrest, as they did a week after my visit, sending a dozen or so men, women, and children into an immigration detention center where they had no access to legal help. The threat that they will be sent back to the countries where their lives are in danger is very real. Another danger is that they might be trafficked by corrupt officials into neighboring countries like Thailand, where the men will be sent to work on fishing boats and the women will be forced to work in brothels. Life is clearly dangerous for these men and women in their old country and in the new country where they seek refuge. These communities had faced unthinkable dangers most of us can barely imagine, and yet the community's greatest danger seemed to be slipping once and for all into hopelessness, a world where the darkness and danger might never end. Their hopelessness was felt most tangibly in regards to the children in their community. You see, none of the adults had ever received an education, and the real concern is that their children never will either. My personal connections to these men were important moments in my life, And there's a reason that I'm sharing them briefly with you today. Had I not risked going into a place that was uncomfortable and unfamiliar, even dangerous, I couldn't be sharing this with you right now. Had I not risked connecting with another human being, I wouldn't have understood a certain truth. I'm convinced that the stories that we tell each other, both real and imagined, matter. They shape who we are, and they can shape what we do. I visited Malaysia because I was invited by an NGO that was about to start a school for the urban poor, many of whom are Rohingya, like Hashim and Noor. My task was to connect with different refugee and migrant communities and to interview them where they were in hiding, to hear their stories where they were detained, or to visit them where they worked, and then to write about the realities. The book that we published raises awareness about their plight, and proceeds from the book are used to fund the school, which includes kids from the Rohingya community who otherwise would never have received education. It's a start. It's not enough, and there's so much more to be done. But hope isn't an abstract concept any longer. The communities can start to see that it can be better for the next generation of the Rohingya, and it will. I'm convinced that the most meaning we can experience as individuals and communities is to come face to face with real stories of hopelessness in order to work together to see real stories of redemption. For me, these meaningful and transformative experiences came about because of a real connection with a friend and partner organization that was already working in an area of need. I was invited to help with an issue I had no prior knowledge of. And it makes me wonder how I, and where you, can be part of bringing tangible change in dangerous places, light in areas of darkness. Though we may not yet be aware of it, we are connected to areas of need. They exist here in Red Deer and everywhere else in the world. And my question is, do you see them? Are you willing to look? May you experience the privilege to have someone look you in the eyes and say, they have no hope. And then, may you dare to step into the danger and darkness in ways small and great. With God's help, we will be part of transforming danger into safety and darkness into hope. Thank you.
The following is a scene from She Has a Name, a play by Andrew Kooman that explores the dangerous world of child sex slavery. My name is James Popoff of Burnt Thicket Theatre, and I will be reading the stage directions. Chris Schulz is reading the role of Jason, a Canadian lawyer posing as a John to investigate a brothel in Bangkok, and Lisa Spencer-Cook is reading the role of Ali, his wife at home in Canada watching their young daughters. Jason walks into his hotel room. He crashes onto his bed without taking off his shoes. He's instantly asleep. Ali appears on the other side of the stage. Her hair is wrapped in a towel, and she stands in a slip. She walks over to the laptop on a desk and flips it open. Jason's laptop on a nearby desk alerts him to a Skype call. He doesn't move for the first few rings. After a number of rings, he bolts out of bed. He's totally disorientated and confused. He starts to clue in to where he is.
Ali. Uh-oh, Ali, wait.
He runs over to the computer and answers the call.
Be there. Shoot. Hello, are you there?
Jason?
Ali.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh, babe, you look like hell.
I do? I know, I do, don't I?
Rough night.
Yeah. What time is it?
It's 3 here. You said to call. I tried an hour ago, like you said.
You did? Shoot,
I guessed you were out all night again.
Hun, I'm sorry.
It's fine. I went for a run. I just got out of the shower. I've got to pick the girls up right away.
Oh, man.
After a meeting with the principal at the school.
Another one?
Yeah, it's at 3:30.
What did Sarah do this time?
Do you really want to get into that?
Honestly, not right now.
Well, that makes two of us.
How are the girls otherwise?
They're good. Sarah's a little more precocious when you're not here. They miss you. You look tired. I woke you.
No, I just got in only a few minutes ago. I fell into a deep sleep.
He stops and just looks into the computer screen.
Aw,
What?
She grabs her skirt, slips it on. He watches her dress.
So, tell me something.
tell you something?
Yeah, talk to me. You're an hour late. I've got to go. I want to hear your voice.
She walks away from the computer.
Hey, where'd you go?
She walks back to the computer.
Lipstick.
Oh, lips.
She puts it on using the computer as a mirror. He gets really close. They are face to face through the screen.
Can you just slip through the screen just for a moment? Just one?
She moves away from the computer.
Hey, don't do that. Don't go away.
She returns, brushing her hair.
Can you just come back to us? Forever.
She leaves the computer.
Okay, we're not going to do this. We're only going to talk about silly, trivial things.
Like what?
Like the weather.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been raining here a lot.
She returns to the screen with eyeliner.
There you are. Hi.
Hi.
What do you have now?
Eyeliner.
You gonna try and put that on right now?
I know, right?
Good luck.
Listen, I'm not going to cry. I got it out of my system on my run.
Oh, you did, huh?
Yeah.
You missed me that much, eh?
You, I wasn't crying over you.
No?
No, you jerk.
Jerk.
You heard me. I was crying at the sheer beauty surrounding me on my run.
Really?
Yeah. The cherry blossoms are just, well, they're beautiful, Jay. And I ran in the rain and it was like, I don't know, running through a forest of cotton candy. The trees are just, they were spectacular.
She starts to pencil on the makeup.
Well, I wish I could say the same. Bangkok is sweltering.
Really? How hot?
Are you dressing up for the meeting?
No.
You are.
Well, I'm going out after.
With who?
Jim and Nancy. Don't you remember? Your parents are watching the girls?
Oh, Allie, it's your birthday. I totally spaced it. I am a jerk.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am. Happy birthday. I'm sorry, babe.
Love keeps no record of wrongs.
Still.
Okay, stop. The weather. You were saying how hot it was in Bangkok.
Yeah.
So, how hot is it in Bangkok?
400 degrees Celsius. The air just sort of clings to you, suctions onto your skin. I'm a mess. I sweat even when I chew. You can't escape the heat or humidity unless you go into a mall or a movie theater.
That's no good.
I guess some of the brothels have aircon, but there's things worse than the heat. Bangkok's like one big armpit.
Ew, that's nasty.
I'm hating it right now, hon.
She puts down the eyeliner.
How many have you been into now?
Close to 50.
Seriously, I can't imagine that.
Don't imagine them.
How can there be so many?
And that's just on one street, in one part of town.
Come on.
I'm serious.
Tonight. How many?
3 different ones. I saw 6, 7 girls privately. One was probably Sarah's age.
A 6-year-old. Doing what? How does it not get to you?
Who says it doesn't?
I mean, how can you keep going into those places?
I don't know. Tonight was a hard night, especially.
Tell me.
No.
Hey, I don't want you to carry this stuff alone.
You have to get to the school.
I've got a few minutes. Come on, tell me. I want to know. What happened tonight?
It's hard to... I've bumped into this guy a few times, a German, on business with a number of his colleagues. He comes every year, normal-looking guy, right?
Right.
And that's what you'd think if he was walking down the street at home, well-maintained, a little pudgy, but dresses well, socks match, professional.
But he's in a brothel.
Exactly. He pulled me into a private room off the main bar where they were having their meeting. And they're on the company's dime, writing their time at the Pearl off as a normal business lunch. Tax deductible, probably. And here they are talking about the new software program they're developing. And there's a girl, no more than 10 years old, is writhing at a pole in the middle of the table.
What?
I know, right? She's hardly got clothes on. She's caked in makeup. She's dancing like a robot. And I don't want to look at her, but I can't help but look at her. She hasn't even hit puberty yet.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm looking at her, and you can tell. I don't know. It looked to me like she was terrified out of her mind. But she keeps dancing. And after a while, our eyes meet, and God help me.
Babe?
It was like her soul had been stolen, ripped out of her body. There was no life in her eyes. She was a corpse, living, but she was dead. You know what I mean?
No. I can't imagine. So, what happened?
What do you mean?
What happened to the girl?
What happened? Well, Alex, not his real name, the German. He nudges me and I can smell the alcohol on his breath. You like her? He asks. And I just look at him. He was probably too drunk to see how angry I was. And then he puts his arm around me like we've been friends all our lives. And he says, she's not bad. I broke her yesterday. Had to pay 10 times what you normally pay, but there's nothing quite like getting them for the first time, wouldn't you say?
Oh, God, help us.
Yeah, and he told me if I wanted time with her, I'd have to get in line, company business.
Poor child. Could you do anything to help her?
Her? No, I just walked away.
Well, what could you do? You're there to get evidence.
Exactly. I have an investigation to build. I needed him to rape her so I can have proof to hand to a judge that this girl is, in fact, forced to live in hell. Forced to have sex with men like him 10, 15 times a day.
Okay, maybe I don't want to hear
I swear
this.
if I had a gun in my hands right then, I would have blown his head off.
Jay?
I should have shot him and every other predator at the table.
Okay, Jay, come home. Don't do this to yourself. They're asking too much of you. It's not fair. You know there's a job waiting for you at my dad's firm.
Don't do this.
He stands and turns away from the screen.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I didn't mean that.
No?
I just hate the thought of you in those places with those other men.
We were supposed to be talking about the weather.
I know.
He sits down again.
Your makeup. You're crying. You can't go to the principal's office like that.
Oh, shoot. I'll cancel.
No.
But the
You
girls,
can still make it.
I've got to run. This is the worst.
I love you.
How do I look?
She checks her profile on the screen.
I look terrible.
No, you don't.
Well, I can't do anything about it now.
You're perfect, Allie.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Hug the girls for me. Tell them I love them.
I'm hanging up, but I don't want to.
Tell them Daddy loves them.
I love you. Love you. Sorry. I'm hanging up.
No.
Sorry, I'm the worst person in the world. Bye.
She hangs up.
No. I am.
End of scene. Thank you.